Namaste. I, Simran Kaushal, welcome you all in the brand new episode of Science Bits only on Bharata First. Science Bits is all about a science which is simplified in a short, crisp, and a unique manner by the experts. Enhance your scientific knowledge and skills through Science Bits. Science Bits involves discussion about the various trending topics related to science and technology. Let your curiosity out and ask questions through a form provided in the description box below. Do make use of this opportunity. Now, I would like to introduce to a science expert, Dr. T.V. Venkateshwaran, who is a senior scientist at Vigyan Prasar, New Delhi. He is also founder of India Science Wire. So, today's question is,
So, if you look at, for example, India, digital governance is part and parcel of the program called as Digital India. So, in the Digital India, you wanted to create a broadband highways. Basically, you want to create backbones so that the digital data can go. There should be public internet. So, there should be some kind of access program so that everyone will be able to access internet. Suppose if the barriers are very high, a large population cannot access internet, then the digital governance will become governance only for some, right? Then there should be information for everyone. It should be available to wider public. Okay. Then there is early hours, universal access, jobs. Okay, electronic delivery of services. Like for example, you want a copy of your documents, etc. I mean, it should be easily retrievable through internet means. Okay, e-governance, that is reforming government through technology, is one of the aspect of digital India. Okay, and also electronic manufacturing, net zero import, these are all some of the aspect of digital India. But now let's concentrate on this e-governance. So if you look at the e-governance, it has three major legs. One is government to business, government and business, industry, and so on. So e-trade, e-delivery, regulations related to it, and so on, e-procurement, these are all one of the things. Then there is government to citizens, like you are creating e-health records, for example, so that you can have web-based services for health. You can have administration, online administration. You can provide certain kind of transport information through online. Okay, so these are all government to citizen. You also have in e-governance something like government to government, so between let's say state governments to union government, or within union government to different department. Let's say for example electronic files, so instead of creating paper file, you create electronic file, and the electronic file moves, and then it's examined. So if you look at the artificial intelligence, till now we are talking about digital, but now coming to artificial intelligence. So in the artificial intelligence, people are talking about applying artificial intelligence to industry, business, so on. One of them is governance and the risk management. So in governance, for example, what are all the areas you can do? For example, you want to provide a credit scheme. Now in COVID times, the government is announcing various credit scheme, right? If you are a sole proprietor and you are doing small business, you need credit for sustaining your profession, right? The government is saying that, for example, Mudra scheme and things like that, right? So in the credit scheme, you need to find a way of selecting beneficiaries. What are we doing today? Today, for example, the government official collects data, you file some application, put together, the government official is taking a decision at some level whether to permit or deny. In this, there are lots of ifs and buts. People would claim from corruption to favoritism to discrimination, right? So many people are thinking that if you bring in artificial intelligence, then this whole process of selection can be more neutral. So how does the artificial intelligence come in? For example, from the earlier data set, that is people when were given such kind of credit scheme by government earlier, what do we learn? Let's say, for example, we are taking at only two factors. Of course, never artificial intelligence will be only two factors. There will be multiple factors. Suppose if I look at, for example, a person's income and the person's saving, okay, from looking at this income and saving, I can know that, for example, if he has a higher income but very low saving, then that person is a high risk person. Similarly, even if your savings are high, if your income is very low, then you are a high risk person because you will not be able to repay. Okay, you will be able to give all your savings, but then what? Right? So, this will be the high risk area. This will be the low risk area. If I create a graph like this, if I put people in this, I mean, I'll get a graph like this. Okay. If I get like that, then I can decide that people who fall in this category, we will give the credit. People who fall in this category will deny the credit, for example, or ask for additional security and things like that. Right? Here, it is not a human being who is making a decision, but artificial intelligence based on earlier data. So this is what is the idea of applying artificial intelligence in governance. One example I'm just giving. But then there are also issues related to this. What is it? One of the important question mark that today people are asking is big data equal to reality? Is big data equal to natural? These are the important questions that they are asking. If the answer is no for any of them, then use of big data without criticism is a big trouble. There is a very interesting work, a book called as Weapons of Math Destruction, which talks about how the algorithms today are creating a condition where, without we knowing, is creating a certain kind of discrimination in the society. Let's look at a very simple example. You just go to the Google image search. Okay, just type the word girl. I did it. Okay, so it's my search. Okay, so I just put girl and then search for images. No other filters. Okay, now what do you see? In these images, most of the images are Western. If there is an African, what is that image looking like compared to, for example, a Western, European or American face? Okay, how many Asians are you seeing here? Right? So, it's after all a Google search and being done from India, but still this is what you get when you just put a very neutral word like a girl. So, which means the artificial intelligence, which is selecting some images as girl, is somewhat biased. Okay, not because some human being is controlling it, basically because there has been bias in our human history. After all, the artificial intelligence is learning from human history, right? In human history, there has been bias. Let's say, for example, if you have a job, artificial intelligence job selector, you put your application. There is a firm which wants people. Your application is analyzed by the artificial intelligence, and then the artificial intelligence selects some and then give it to the prospective employer. If you look at India, for example, there are many departments, right? In India government, there are many departments. Until now, there have been very few women directors of these departments. So if you use the historical data and you are a woman, you will get lesser weightage by artificial intelligence. So there will be some kind of a discrimination. One experimentally, for example, in US for justice system, one artificial intelligence system was tried out. It gave completely unacceptable results. Like say, for example, a girl who committed crime of stealing candies from a shop, because she did it third time, she got a very heavy stiff punishment. But whereas somebody who indulged in armed robbery, but for the first time, got a much lighter punishment by that artificial intelligence. Okay. Similarly, if you look at the Google ads, one of the studies says that if you are a woman, if you log in using your profile and you are a woman, the ads which come by its own, nobody is sitting there and programming it and giving it to you, right? Women are less likely to see high paid jobs. So that itself is a kind of perpetuating certain kind of discrimination, right? So these are all the major challenges. Basically, artificial intelligence is bias in, bias out. Artificial intelligence is built through our historical data. So in our history, human history, there have been biases, biases against blacks, biases against caste, biases against race, biases against gender. Okay, so all those biases will get inscribed into the artificial intelligence. That is a fear, and people have shown that it is not just fear, but it's a real danger that exists. Okay, and that is why they are warning, or they are suggesting that we should be very careful in extending it. But that is not the end of the story. Once we know a problem in science, we try to find solution. So people are trying to find out how you can eliminate this kind of biases, which might come from a historical background. So people are also working on it. So a new generation AI, which will be having social justice in its aspect, are also something on the cards that people are working.